Good morning, Year 4. How are you? And welcome to your final English lesson of this week. In today's lesson, you're going to be using noun phrases which are expanded by adding or modifying adjectives, nouns, and preposition phrases. And to be successful in this lesson, you will be able to create expanded noun phrases about the rainforest using a wide range of ambitious adjectives, nouns, and adverbs. You will also be able to use prepositions to build some fantastic prepositional phrases to state where something is in relation to something else. And finally, you'll be able to build on these expanded noun phrases that you created earlier to include these prepositional phrases, all based around the rainforest and the book that we've been looking at this week, The Great Kapok Tree. Now, I do have some retrieval questions for you. Question number 1 and question number 2 are based on our reading session this week. And I've also included some images here to help you think about the words in a bit more detail and depth too. So the first image relates to question number 1. The second image relates to question number 2. And then number 3 is just a multi-choice question. You just need to circle is the answer A, B, or C. So can you pause the video? Underneath your date and title for today, can you please write down the answers to these questions? Off you go. Okay, so if we're looking at this image to give a definition for the word defeatist, this person has kind of given up. They've accepted that they've failed some sort of exercise that they've been doing. So it's a person who expects failure. So we know that in the book, The Explorer, Con was saying to the rest of the children that they were all defeatists because just because the map had ink on it, they were all defeatists thinking that they couldn't get to where they wanted to go, when actually Con had this brilliant idea. Number 2, give a synonym for the word coasted. So using the image to help you, can you think of a synonym for the word coasted? What does a synonym mean again, please? That's right, a synonym is the word that means the same as our original word. So something that means the same as coasted could be cruising, the car is cruising down the road, drifting, flowing, or gliding. And finally, number 3, what is an adjective? Does an adjective modify the verb? Does it explain the verb? Does it describe an action? Or does it modify and explain a noun? That's right, it explains a noun. We're going to be looking at lots of nouns and lots of adjectives today too. So thinking about a noun, if we remember, a noun could name a person, a place, an idea, a thing, or a feeling. So look around you in the room right now. You can see lots of nouns. You might be able to see a table. That's a noun. You might be able to see a person, a family member, or someone else in your house. You might be able to see a place such as a kitchen or a bedroom. Okay, so that is what a noun is. And you have noticed there that when I spoke about my nouns, I added the word a, an, or the. Maybe I said the kitchen, a table, for example. These words are a specific type of word. Do you remember what type of word they are? Absolutely. These words are called determiners. So they describe not what a noun is, but they just are added in front of a noun. So some nouns we could have is a tree, a being our determiner, the boys, an orangutan, a waterfall. Why have we got a here and an here? When do we use an? That's right, when the word next starts with a vowel, such as A, E, I, or U, we have to use the determiner an. But if it doesn't start with a vowel, it's just a. Fantastic. So now we're clear on what a noun is. We can use adjectives to describe and tell you more about a noun because adjectives are describing words. So if we had a tree, we could describe this tree as a tall tree. Because adjectives sometimes come next to their nouns, we could say a lofty tree. We could say the busy boys, a frightened orangutan, a powerful waterfall. And all of these words in green are my adjectives. And what were my words in black? That's right, my determiners. Fantastic. Now, Sometimes they come next to their noun, but often, well, sometimes they don't. Because if we're using the example of the waterfall, instead of saying a powerful waterfall, we could say the waterfall is powerful. Now we've switched around our noun and our adjective, but it still uses the adjective to describe the noun. Now sometimes, and what I've been trying to encourage you to do, is sometimes to use more than one adjective when we are describing a noun. And when we add two adjectives, we know we need to separate them by a piece of punctuation, don't we? What punctuation is that? That's right, we need to separate them with a comma. Now we could say a lofty, endless tree. So two adjectives to describe that tree. We could say the busy, excited boys. We could say a frightened, gentle orangutan. And we could say a powerful, loud waterfall. What are these phrases examples of? That's right, they're examples of expanded noun phrases, which is what we are focusing on today. Now we looked at some noun phrases then when we had a lofty tree, because a noun phrase is where there's only one adjective, but an expanded noun phrase we know there are two adjectives, joined with what punctuation? A comma, good job. So a noun phrase we know adds extra detail to the noun. So we've got a lofty tree, the busy boys, a frightened orangutan, a powerful, loud waterfall. Now that's an expanded noun phrase. But sometimes we can add adverbs to expand these noun phrases further. So have a look at my examples here. We could say the extremely fragile environment. Extremely being my adverb telling me how fragile it is. It's not just fragile, it's extremely fragile, giving me this image that actually this environment is quite damaged, maybe quite just dainty and maybe a bit fragile. We could also have a very violent storm. Not just a violent storm, a very violent storm. These two words here, very and violent, what do you notice? What feature has been used here that we have been looking at mainly in poetry? That's right, has alliteration, the very violent storm. Makes that sound a bit nicer when you read it, fantastic. So these noun phrases include not only a noun, our blue words, our adjectives in green, our determiners in red, but also our adverbs in brown, because our adverbs tell us how the adjective is, how extreme the adjective is. And we're going to really be trying to focus on that today. So we're going to be expanding nouns, and then it's going to be your turn. So I have a picture of a rainforest here, and I could expand this because I could start with the rainforest. Now that sounds a bit rubbish, doesn't it? Because we can make that a lot better. We could think of two adjectives that we could use to describe the rainforest, and I've chosen peaceful and tranquil. Do you know what tranquil means? That's right, tranquil means calm, a bit like peaceful. So these are two words that could possibly be synonyms of each other too. But not only is this the peaceful, tranquil rainforest, which is my expanded noun phrase, I've actually expanded this further by adding my adverb extremely. It's not just peaceful and tranquil, it's extremely peaceful and tranquil. Now your first task on your resource sheet today is trying to build some noun phrases around the noun rainforest. So what I want you to think is, what does a rainforest look like? What adjectives could we describe the rainforest as? And this is the picture that you have in your task 1 in your resource pack for today. So remember that when we make an expanded noun phrase, you need your determiner, your adverb, your two adjectives separated by a comma, and your noun, okay? So can you go to your resource pack now and construct 3 expanded noun phrases, please? Pause the video, off you go. Okay, how did you do? Shall we have a look at some expanded noun phrases that I've come up with? I said a surprisingly noisy rainforest. Now, if you haven't included 2 adjectives and you've included 1 adverb and 1 adjective, that's still a really good noun phrase because you remembered your adverb. The adverb is the main thing that we were trying to focus on there. But we could have included 2 adjectives with an adverb by saying a sadly depleted old rainforest. What does that word depleted mean? That's right, the word depleted, if you don't know, depleted means when you exhaust something. So this is really old rainforest. The resources have been exhausted, used up maybe. We could have also had an amazingly beautiful rainforest, going back there to just one adjective and one adverb. So if you've got anything like that, where you've just included your determiner, your adverb, your adjectives and your noun, super job, well done. Now, we're not just going to stop there today, Year 4. We're going to extend our writing further by adding a prepositional phrase. Can you remember, first of all, what a preposition is? Can you write down some examples on your piece of paper of some prepositions? Pause the video and have a go. Did you remember that some examples of prepositions are coming up now? So with, of, by, from, and you can read the others in the box there. Now, if you didn't have a definition for the word preposition before, can you think of one now using the list of some of the prepositions that I've given you here? Well done. So a preposition tells us how words are related. So we could expand our noun phrases using prepositional phrases because we could add a prepositional phrase. So we've got our prepositions just down the corner there so we can refer to them. So we could say a beautiful ancient tree, which is my expanded noun phrase, but I could expand that by adding my prepositional phrase with succulent green leaves. Now, my preposition here is with, and then my phrase is made by telling me what it is with. Now I can see my tree here does have green leaves, but they're not just green, they're succulent green leaves. So I've added actually another expanded noun phrase there too. But I've made a mistake here. What do I need to include in this prepositional phrase? That's right, I need to include my comma, don't I, between succulent and green. Well done for spotting my mistake there. Okay, we could also have a beautiful ancient tree and we could use the preposition in. Where is the beautiful ancient tree? Well, it's not just in a rainforest, it's in the heart of the forest. When we say something is in the heart of the forest, what do you think that means? Where is the heart in our body? Can you point to it? That's right, it's here. And our heart is kind of in the middle of our chest, isn't it? So it's like the main thing. And when we say something is in the heart of the forest, it's in kind of the middle, the main part of the forest. So it's in a really good place. And we could also use the preposition from. A beautiful ancient tree from a long time past. And you can see here how we've actually used the same expanded noun phrase, but depending on the preposition that we've used, it changes what we are going to create the prepositional phrase from that preposition. So if we've used the preposition with, that tells me that this beautiful ancient tree has something else on it, which is the succulent green leaves. And if I'm using the preposition in, it's telling me that this beautiful ancient tree is in a place. Where is it? In the heart of the forest. And if I'm using the preposition from, where is this beautiful ancient tree coming from? Well, it's been around for a long time, from a time long past. Super. I'm going to need you to head over to part 2 of this video now so I can explain to you your next task and then your final task and then the plenary for today. So I will see you in part 2 of today's lesson.